Welcome to the Propreneur Podcast, where we help practice owners become better entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Dino Watt. So everybody, thanks for being here. My name is Dino Watt, and one of the passions I have in what I do is sales. I love sales. I think it's an honor to be able to do sales. And one of the facts of business is that if you do not have cash coming into your business, you cannot grow the business. I don't care how much marketing you do, on how good you are at your job. If you don't have cash coming in via sales, you cannot grow a business. So in an orthodontic office, the direct person who's responsible for that is the TC. In a dentist office, sometimes they have TCs too, but they're hygienists as well that will do that. But in this case, we're going to be talking to the TCs because obviously over the last couple of weeks, there's been a major shift. And what I know is that a lot of people are like, okay, I guess we got to go virtual now. And we did the whole day virtual one-on-one training, which was awesome. We've done a lot of different conversations around virtual. But what we're not talking about is the new skill set that TCs will have to have when it comes to selling virtually, whether that be through the screen or through the phone. And we're going to hear experience from both of those. So I want to do some quick introductions. Matter of fact, I'm just going to introduce them by name, and I'm going to let them share their quick story, tell us where they are from, where they what office they work in, if they work in an office, and their experience. And maybe I'm throwing this out at them just for fun. And a fun fact. Let's do a fun fact.
Oh.
All right. So Laura is obviously the quietest of everyone. So let's go with Laura first. Laura, you're calling all the way in from up north in Canada. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's almost my bedtime.
It's almost your bedtime.
I've been up at 5 lately and in bed by 9, so we'll be.
I know that story.
Yeah.
I don't know what all these people are talking about with like, oh, I've been binge watching Netflix and I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been working 14, 15-hour days.
Well,
I don't know
we know you have. Again, yeah, thank you so much for bringing us all together, Dino. Dino has been, killing it with these panels and nonstop working. So I'm Laura Cafik-Martin. I live in Toronto. I have been a treatment coordinator for 15 years at City Orthodontics in Toronto and worked for Dr. Willy Dayan, who has been using Invisalign at a very high level since I started with him in 2003. And prior to that, it was a CDA. It was so 21 years in the business. 2 years ago, actually, after about 6 years, or I have in total been lecturing for 6 years, I have left the practice and I'm now a full-time and now will be a full-time virtual TC coach. So more of the same of what I've been the shift that I was hoping our industry would make in regards to simplifying the importance of orthodontic treatment and helping more people. I think the good news about all of this is that we're going to help more people. I know that Nicole is busy right now, Stacy is busy right now, and Kim is going to tell you their stories in regards to how they're turning their businesses virtual as we speak. You're probably wondering, what am I doing here if I'm not even at an office? I knew, even because my boss, speaks for Invisalign, and we've always been kind of on stage in regards to people coming in and shadowing our practice. I knew that I always had to go above and beyond in regards to exceeding people's expectations of getting the yes. And I knew that it was hard to only get the yeses from the consults who were coming in, because I think we underestimate the people who aren't even coming through the door because they're uncomfortable or they have a fear of the cost, a fear of how am I going to fit this into my busy life, a fear of so much that we underestimate. And so I knew that I was always trying to market when I wasn't even working. So I'd always have friends of friends saying, casually, do you know the benefits of orthodontic treatment? Because we all know when we see, for an example, a class 2 Div 2, how much of a benefit is it for them to have orthodontic treatment? So I was sitting at the seat of my pants going, there's so many benefits. But I knew if they came into the practice, they might be uncomfortable. So I knew that if we could bring them to a comfortable environment, I then could have an opportunity to just genuinely tell them what the benefits that we could do for them and the magic that we can change for their life. And so I started implementing, which I called coffee shop consults years ago. And how I got so many patients to refer other patients was just by them knowing that I would go remotely to casually talk to them and help them understand, because again, we have underestimated how much people don't know what the benefits are orthodontically and what the consequences of their malocclusion and what would happen if they don't do it. So I'm thinking and we'll talk more, I'm sorry guys, the benefit of this is that they're now going to be at home in their comfortable environment. So now I think we'll be able to reach more people because we'll be able to see more people if we have the perfect presentation in front of us with a true passion for what we do and what we offer and our intent as to help them. Yeah.
I love it. Tell us, okay, quickly, what's one fun fact?
Fun fact, I got all this new equipment for my online coaching.
She's all excited.
Yeah, fun
That's
fact, my son's name is Cash, and he reminds me that that's what makes us rich is people. So let's help more people.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. All right, thank you so much, Laura. All right, let's go over to Stacy. Stacy, where are you calling in from?
Hi, I am calling in from Florida, but I'm actually the treatment coordinator for an orthodontist, Waldman Orthodontics in Beverly Hills. So I work remotely. I am the remote virtual treatment coordinator. So calling it the RVTC.
Love it.
I think it's going to catch on, the RVTC. So we'll be seeing that a lot lately. So I was Dr. Waldman's in-house TC for about 5.5 years and then needed to relocate for family reasons. And it was funny, I was just going to leave the practice and Dr. Waldman was in a meeting behind my office and I wasn't eavesdropping or anything, but he was talking to someone else. My door is open, his door is open. And he said, I think it was at that time about dental monitoring, it was a couple of years ago. And he said, well, if I was going to hire somebody to do that, I would hire somebody to do it remotely. And about that time, I just like whiplash neck over, like, wait a second, if you're hiring anybody remotely, it's going to be me. No one knows this practice better than me. And literally in like 30 minutes, we'd worked out all the details. I was leaving for Florida the next week. By the time I arrived here, the next day, computers arrived and I was up and working within a week. And I'm completely plugged into our office. So still same extension and everything. I work 8 hours. It's been amazing. It really has been amazing.
Sorry, Stacey, how long has this been for?
So I've been here for about 1.5 years, doing this for like 1.5 years. And so, yeah, so we, right when I was leaving, that's when we were kicking off or had been starting dental monitoring. So my doctor's really into technology, remote monitoring, dental monitoring, things like that. So it's already natural moving into virtual consultations. We had tried before the doctor-less consultations and we just weren't really seeing conversions with it. So the next step we moved into was the virtual consultation. So we started those in March of 2018, last March. Yeah, so we've been doing them over 1 year and we've completed over 300 and have a really good conversion rate with it. And it's been an exciting adventure. So we've done this all before any of this hit, COVID-19. Yep. But now also we're in a new arena with video because we've never done video consults. So we were starting all our cases simply by phone calls and follow-ups. So now we're in a new territory of how we're going to use the new video feature.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. Number one, remote. Like, I think this solves a lot of problems with doctors who are worried about losing a TC. Look, the fact of the matter is some spouses are going to lose jobs and might have to transfer and move. And this is an option to keep some of their favorite TCs, no matter where they are in the world, just they're doing it remotely. So that's one. And the other one is the fact that you did this through the phone.
Yes.
When most people think about this, we're thinking always like this with the Skype. I mean, that's why Zoom's stock has gone up so big over the last couple of weeks. And people are like, oh, I got to get a Zoom account. Do I do Zoom? Do I do Skype? Do this? It's like, well, you can't make not knowing how to do it through the screen or not having the screen capability an excuse, because we have example right here of someone who's doing it. So very, very powerful. I love it. So excited. So fun fact.
Fun fact. Okay, I think I'm a little bit psychic. So I once guessed how many jelly beans were in the jar and won a month free of skating when I was in 5th grade.
Nice. Very cool.
I don't know what else.
Nice. This is not going to turn into the psychic reading hotline, people. So do not ask psychic questions on here. That's a whole nother event.
I'll put my link in here
Stay
next.
on longer. Can we stay on later? That's
It's 99 cents a minute. So that's going to be. All right. Awesome. Let's go down to Nicole. Nicole, where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from Northern California. I'm in Los Altos right now. I am the Director of Operations for Dr. Boschkin. We have, like I said, 2 locations, and I started with him, I can't believe this, but about 8 years ago. Oh. And prior to that, I sold payroll for ADP for over 15 years, did management, and then wanted a change of pace and found myself here. And so it's why I started out as a treatment coordinator, and I still do some of that today. I also manage the office. I've done the financial part. We make a lot of these decisions together. And recently, it's been about a year now, we started Aligner IQ, which is just a consulting company for other practices out there. And we also do some in-office immersion courses. So that's been exciting. Like Laura, I also speak for Invisalign and do a lot of that training. And I love that part of what I do. So that's me. I'm trying to think of a fun fact. You should have prepped us for this.
That's why I didn't. It's more fun when I didn't.
I don't know. The one thing that people usually don't believe about me is that I played field hockey in high school. And usually people tag me for a cheerleader. I don't know why, but I lost it to.
I have no idea why.
No idea. No, I'm just kidding. I am actually very competitive, and I think that's kind of what got me into sales to start out with. So having a background in sales, it's been a very easy transition to start this process, and I'm really happy to be here. So.
That's awesome. First of all, I was a cheerleader, so let's not knock cheerleaders, people. I was a cheerleader. I have 0 sports genes, so field hockey, I just don't have the elbows for it, I guess. So, but the reason why I really wanted to have you on was the sales background, as I mentioned at the very beginning. Look, when I go into offices and I talk to people and I'll say, so what do you think about sales? Or I have a course that I teach called the TC Sales Intensive and or Mastery. And I'll ask them, like, what do you think about sales? And you always get, oh, I don't want to be the car salesman. I don't want to be this. It's sales. I don't really sell. I present a case and I give them a choice and they fish around it. And when you and I were talking, and you know, the ADP sales, it's not an easy gig. So you knew that going in, and then be able to bring that into the ortho world. I think it's so powerful and awesome. So that's so cool. I'm so happy to have you here. All right. So last but definitely not least, and I actually did this intentionally because Kim, we're going to go from you, and then I'm going to ask you your story, because I think everybody on the call, for the most part, that's talking or on the side here, it is they're worried about the transition. They're worried about what it's going to look like, and unfortunately, right now, most people aren't able to see what it's going to look like because they're not in the office, right? So many are furloughed, so many are not in the office right now. So, Kim, let's introduce yourself, and then we're going to go in. I'm going to ask you specifically the first question. So, go ahead, Kim.
Okay. Hey guys, my name is Kim Gordon. I am the treatment coordinator for Loopy Orthodontics. I've been with Dr. Loopy for 24 years, TCing for about 14 of those. This is something totally new to me with virtual. You know, what are we going to do now? How are we going to go from being in an office, seeing patients, to now we can't see patients due to the virus that's in front of us, and what are we going to do? We had to jump on it pretty quickly. Everything, it was just all hands on deck. Everybody had to get in there. We had to revamp the schedule. We had to find a format for how we were going to do these virtual consultations, virtual appointments, because we are seeing not only consultations this way, we are seeing our patients that have chairside appointments as well. We are still able to deliver aligners. We're still able to check the aligners via the computer, via the virtual consult. But we had to get ahead of that and be able to jump into it and make sure that it worked. It was a little frustrating at first because not all the components were there. We ended up getting together. We're using Zoom right now, Zoom meetings. We also are using SmileSnap that is now linked to our webpage. That is up and running. We're promoting that now. But as a TC, there are so many pieces to the information that you need. And how are you going to get that information? And how are you going to convey that to the patient? How are you going to be able to use that? How are you going to get the doctor involved? You know, a lot of components. So went ahead, we scheduled our first new patient day because I wasn't sure how they were going to work. So what we did was we just did a day where we did nothing but virtuals. I had them scheduled 1 hour, not necessary. Okay. We were done in 20 minutes, you know, going straight to case presentation, to talking to them on the phone, going over the financials. So we came up with a little system for the new patient consult. And the phone is still ringing. Okay. We are still getting new patient calls. I had in that one day, I had 6 consultations that day. Yesterday I had 3. The day before that, I had 4. So, you know, you're getting double patients, you're getting siblings, you're getting father and son, you know, you're just getting all these calls coming in. So, and patients are very receptive to this. They love this because they can do their consult right from the comfort of their own home without having to come into the office. Okay. And they're nervous, you know, people are nervous to go out, you know. So, I link them into, you know, introducing them to the office. I tell them where to do their paperwork. I have created a video for photos to teach people how to take these pictures that we need. It's up on our Facebook page. I also developed a little sheet that gets sent to them as well, and it's up on our Facebook page as well. This is what it should look like, because I think all of us can speak from experience that some of the pictures that we're receiving are not very good, okay, the quality, but there are other tools that you can use that's going to help with that. You know, for instance, the SmileSnap. Okay. I get all of that information ahead of time. So I have the paperwork, I have the insurance verified, I have their pictures, I have their x-ray if possible. Okay. Because everybody's schedule at work with the dental practices is different. I have that all laid out. I have my exam form already. I fill it out. He pulls up the pictures, and this is before the patient is even seen with us. He's going in there, he's looking at the patient, he's giving me notes, he's writing things down. I already know the financial before he even goes in there. I have everything in front of me. Usually by the time he's done with the exam, I've already got the financial done and scanned in their chart, and it's just a quick send with an email. They pull it up, and then we're in a financial discussion. You know?
Kim, one of the big questions that's already coming up is here you've pivoted incredibly quickly, right? Like,
right.
This was, I think, was it Thursday or Friday that you sent me an email just to tell me what you were doing and how well it was going. And that's when I called you and was like, well, guess what? I'm going to have you on this event that we're doing too, because people need to hear this pivot. People need to hear, okay, so it's so cool that many of you have been doing this for a while. Here's the brand new experience of someone, by the way, who has been doing this for a very long time, and who you guys weren't really on the cusp of going virtual before this. It wasn't like one of those things where you were like, oh, this is so cool, we're going to do this right now. It just even made more. Right. So what people are asking is this, and then I'm still going to ask you, what's the unique thing about you? What's that fun fact? You're not going to get out of it. I remember, I know. So people are asking 2 things. How many of those have you closed with contracts that you've been putting on? That's a big question, obviously, people, because, you know, people are going, well, sure, you can see people, but are they willing to actually sign a contract? So how many of those were actually closed contracts?
The other day with the 5, I closed 3. you know, and the contracts are signed, the down payments are collected. It's done.
Listen,
you know?
we could just stop right here just to say, see, it works. It's possible. And I know all three of you are going to talk about how you're doing that too. I just want people out there, and I really want to press this point right there, is that for those of you that are worried about the transition, it's not that it's going to be easy, but it is a matter of saying, okay, we can figure this stuff out and it's going to close. So she closed 3 out of 5, which is a pretty dang good closing record by itself, right? Of just those Monday. But last week there was more than that, right?
There were. We did, how many did I do on Thursday? I believe I had 5 contracts last week when I talked to you. And it's incredible. I am like just blown away by the fact that I'm sitting here in this setting, and you know, we have mom and dad, we have the child there, and both of them are involved in it, and they're asking the questions, and you know, they're getting their answers. And you know, of course, you know, with the time being what it is, there are a few little incentives to start, you know, things that Dr. Lupi is offering to help, you know, with things. And they're very receptive to it, and they are life is going to continue. This is temporary. This is temporary. This is not going to go on forever, you know.
Well, and that's what I want to touch, and that's actually what I want to touch on for just a moment. Sorry to interrupt you. First of all, fun fact.
Oh yes,
okay.
Fun fact.
I am a wealth of useless knowledge. Let's just put it that way. So if you want to play Trivial Pursuit, I'm your person.
Dude, I didn't know. That's why we like each other so much, because I'm totally the same way, especially if it's entertainment stuff. Watch out.
Yes,
I'm going to, okay.
And I think that's why I can relate with these patients so well, is that I just can talk about pretty much anything. Except when you put me on the spot, and then I'm like,
you did great. You're awesome. Now that's over. You're all good. Don't worry about it. You're a veteran now. So I want to say this because the question actually came up, and I think this is important, and I want to have this discussion with all of you. Is the first thing I think we need to establish is this. People are worried about this. I have had people call me and contact me of how do I get people to agree to doing this right now, when right now it's kind of scary. People don't know what's going to happen, how long it's going to be. So how do you get them to actually enrolled into coming into the office? My answer to that is, you are the professionals. You are not asking people to do it. You're telling people this is what we do. So when you lead people who want to be led right now, they want to have that security of somebody saying, oh, this is what we're doing. So the first thing I believe is the mindset of you going, oh, hey, hey, I know we can't have you come into the office, but cool thing, good for you. We actually can get you on a virtual training or a virtual portal, and we can have that same experience with us through virtually. You don't even have to leave your home. Isn't that cool?
Right.
If you lead it that way, as opposed to, so what would you think about possibly maybe coming in? Would that be okay? I know it's scary out there. Like, of course they're not going to do it. But I want to hear from you. How do you get people enrolled into coming in who are cold calls or are people that you're reaching out to? So anybody can answer.
I'm thinking, you know, the silver, you know, everyone is, prior to this, everyone was so busy. I'm going over to the microphone. I don't think I have to go close to it. I knew that everybody lived a busy life and had their own crises going on at home before this crisis hit. And, you know, I think we could take this opportunity to take something off their plate, because once life starts rolling again, this is something I think that they can learn about now. And as you said, you have mom and dad. How many times have we all pleaded to say, well, only mom came in and they had to go talk to dad, or dad came in, they got to talk to mom, or mom and dad aren't together. Well, look at on a Zoom, we're all at home. And as you said, Kim, isn't it amazing that now kids are communicating with you because they're at home in their comfort zone? And now everyone's getting used to Zooming, right? It's like we're all, you saw the world, as Dino just said, you know, jump on Zoom within a 2-week, 3-week period. It was really within a 1-week period. Did you not see everybody getting comfortable with the new way that we need to communicate in the new landscape. So that's what I just think will be mad. I think if we take the approach, because everyone is going to be leery of spending money and or going out into social distancing situations or social events.
Absolutely.
So right now, what people are concerned about is, my stepmother said, Laura, all we care about is that we're home and we're healthy. I said, great. Now we can educate people while they're at home that part of their overall health includes their oral health. And that I believe that we haven't, the public still doesn't know. They think that orthodontic treatment equals straightening teeth equals aesthetics only. Well, guess what? There are, I think, a blanketed statement across, I say to everybody at my son's school and all my friends, everybody needs orthodontic treatment, because how long do you want to keep your teeth?
Yeah. You just have to watch Tiger King to have a testimonial on
right?
That. Like, that's all you need is just have your kids watch Tiger King and say, this is going to happen to you.
Totally.
Absolutely.
So it's just, that I think, and I hope that I've always wanted everybody to invest, because, as we're all going to reevaluate where we're spending our time and money more so than ever before, I'm going to question, am I going to go on these trips? How am I going to, how many outfits I bought that now I'm looking at thinking I wish I had more comfy clothes for my home life right now. Right. So, but what I think, investing in our 3 things that we're going to be doing for the rest of our life is talking, eating, and smiling. And it's all to do what we have the magic to help people do those 3 things with forever, even under these ugly circumstances. And so I think it can be such a powerful movement.
I agree. Nicole, you've been doing this for quite a while, obviously. How have you been able to enroll people into this? And then we're going to make sure that when we go through all of these, we've got already a lot of questions going on here. If you see any of the questions that you want to answer, please feel free to do so. I'll try to throw some up here as well. But Nicole, how have you enrolled people into making sure this is it's cool?
Well, I think what you said was really key. And I think that's the key, whether they come in for a consult or whether we do it virtually, is we set the stage for here's what the next step is. So when they come into our office, we let them know ahead of time in terms of, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take some records. Dr. Boschken's going to look in your mouth. I'm going to review the treatment plan, the timing, the cost. And then from there, we'll get you started. It's going to take about 2 weeks to get your aligners. And so it's the same messaging when we're on the phone or we're live with people, is just kind of assuming that next step in terms of telling them what to do. Now, we have to be real. There are people out there who don't want to spend the money because they've lost their job. And so those aren't the people that we're going after. But there are a lot of people that are working from home, that are still in tech, that are still have jobs that are consistently their income hasn't changed. Their situation has, but their income hasn't changed. So we have to make sure that we're reaching out to those people. The first couple of weeks I had a lot of millennials, or I had a lot of Gen Z, 20, 30-year-olds. They were like, what's COVID? And they were all in it. But since then, I've had all age groups. So I had a son and a father the other day, and he's like, we're at home. I work from home anyway, so this is what he does. But we figured, we'd have more time. So I think it's just approaching it like you approach your exam when they come in the office. The only thing is, for those of you that are doing 60-minute exams, and we've been doing 30 to 40-minute exams for a long time, you really have to shorten it. You don't need to people lose their attention span anyway, but you really don't need an hour consultation.
Right.
It's a really
actually is plenty.
It's a really good point about the attention span thing. One of the things that people aren't, this because you do this when you're on a Zoom, but when you're the person presenting and trying to have a conversation with someone, the distraction meter is so high for them when they're on the other side, because whether, Facebook's up or if something else is happening over here, it's real easy when you're not in front of somebody to get distracted easily. And some of even your normal mannerisms go out the window. And so you have to be really good about keeping that attention. It's one of the things when I talk about even speaking and training through virtual, a lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to throw up a screen and get on Zoom and it'll be good. You got to really manage that. So managing time is important. Stacey, I want to ask you a question about this, but I want to piggyback on Nicole. Do you guys, and I know it's going to come up, Stacey, I know you do, you guys charge or offer, you charge if they come in live, or they can do it not live, they can do it virtual and it's no charge. Do you guys do the same thing, Nicole?
No. We don't charge for consultations either way.
Okay, honest. I got it. So Stacey, you guys do charge for consultations. We had a great conversation with Dr. Alex when he was on the Virtual 101. And that's one of the things is he offers, hey, I mean, obviously you guys would rather them go virtual. And so it's, hey, that's for free. But if you want to come in the office, no problem. There's a charge for it. I think he said it was like $275 or something like that to come in.
85, so we do
Yeah.
185. So,
Yeah.
so I take that, I'm here from Florida, then I take all of the new patient calls as well. So one of the things, you know, when we started, how are we going to word this conversation? And Dr. Wallman, you know him, so we're always constantly reevaluating the words, the terminology, everything we're using. We realized with this, it needs to be just as equal. The virtual consultation needs to be just as great of an experience as it is coming into the office. So that was one of the things that we worked on wording is, you know, when I take that phone call, it's great. We're excited to see you. We have 2 options for your consultation. We do offer the traditional in-office consultation. We take full diagnostic records. You'll meet with Dr. Waldman. We do charge for the consultation. And the other option that our patients are loving is our virtual consultation. It's amazing, really easy to do. Again, you go through how that works with the virtual consultation. So I don't want to do like, okay, you're going to do the paid consultation, or, you know, if not, you'll just do the virtual. No, it's got to be, both experiences have to be amazing. And so that's one of the things that I was surprised too of who was choosing the virtual consultations, because in the beginning I thought it was going to be shoppers, yelpers just wanting to get information, because we're completely fee transparent with our information. And it wasn't. It was actually the working professionals, the doctors, the teachers, people that didn't have time to come into the office. And what they wanted fee transparency. They wanted efficiency. They wanted to streamline this process.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because once they go through this with me, I don't book them in the office until I'm like 99.9% sure they're going to start treatment. If I offered everyone to come, I'm like, great, your next step is to come meet Dr. Wallman, everybody would come. And then you're still in the same boat. So what I do is I do all the terminology. Even though we book them in the consult room, it's the same exam as if they're doing a new patient exam with us. But my terminology with the patient is, when you're ready to start treatment, the next step is to schedule your in-office diagnostic visit with Dr. Waldman. So I'm using different terminology so they know we're expecting you to start treatment when you come in. And it's
Dr. Waldman, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Dr. Waldman was saying that your closing ratio for that, because I know that's going to come up too, is around 80 to 90%. 80
to 90%. There are some that come in and we may need to refer to a specialist. Something
sure.
Or there are some that just come in, okay, thank you for your time, which me as a TC is like a knife in my heart because I've worked so hard to start. And then Dr. Wallman's gonna be like, what? So, but it is. But one of the things we noticed too, from 2018 to 2019, when we started doing the virtual consultations, our adult conversion completely doubled. We weren't seeing any more exams, but totally just doubled in numbers of what we converted from the year prior by doing the virtual consultation. So it's, Dr. Wallman always says too, we don't want to see more. We don't want to work harder. We just want to work smarter.
That's right. That's great. Okay, so let's go real quick around Robin. Oh no, Michelle, Nicole, you had something?
I was just going to add that I think the conversion is going up because you're giving the patients what they want. Right. They're all concerned about traffic and they're concerned about their own time. I'm a working mom too. And, you know, now that I have to go to the grocery store and I can't get Instacart anymore, like, I know I could have bigger problems, but those are all the efficiencies that I'm used to.
Yep.
If you could have a virtual consult instead of having to go to even my child's doctor appointment. Like if I could do some of that virtual, that would be a game changer. So I think you're giving them what they want. And so
absolutely. One of the things that I talked about this a year ago when I was telling docs, you got to go virtual, you got to look at what the benefit is Uber. You know, Uber is successful not because they're just another taxi service. They're successful because they profited on people's time and gave people their time back and let people control their time. Well, that's exactly what you're doing. You're creating an
Right.
opportunity for them to take care and control of their time. I want to do a quick round robin with everybody. Tell us the equipment that you're using. A lot of people want to know that. So what's the type of equipment? Do you use Zoom? Do you use, I think there's another Coxie, something like that. There's Skype. There's so many other things. So what are you using for capturing their information, having the virtual call? I know Stacy's like, AT&T, a phone. I don't know.
Like you.
But
Rotary phone I'm dialing.
that's right, the rotary phone. She has it, it's corded and everything.
It takes a little time when you have to dial a 9.
Yeah.
That 0 really gets you. So tell us real quickly, let's just go around the horn of what equipment you're using.
Okay, I'll start since we were talking about the rotary phone system, and then just for managing the virtual consultations, then we use SmileSnap for it. So we're super excited they're releasing a video feature, and like I said, we've not had to do video before. We didn't need it, or at the time know that we needed it. So we're looking forward to that, moving into their video feature that's coming out like ASAP to start using that, and that's how we're going to coordinate our virtual appointments. So we'll receive the photos through SmileSnap, and then we'll also follow up with, the plan is follow up with a virtual consultation, or we'll actually have the ability, you can schedule that consultation out. So we'll be able, through SmileSnap, to schedule the consultation at the patient's convenience with Dr. Waldman. That's how we're
Did you use, how long have you been using SmileSnap? Did you use something before that, or?
We were doing when we started a while ago. We didn't know SmileSnap was around. I think they were just off to it. I don't think it was when we first were trying this. So we were doing a do-it-yourself version, and it worked. I mean, you could tell it was do-it-yourself, but it did work. I mean, we got in random things. Again, you send an email showing photos, and then I honestly had a woman send me a picture of herself on a ride at Disneyland having a teeth.
Yes.
One of the things we loved when we switched to SmileSnap is the quality of the photos. They have the side by side, so she could see, okay, my ride at Disneyland doesn't look like this, occlusal photo that I need. So we, again, switched from that and started using SmileSnap sometime, I believe last October or November, we switched and started using SmileSnap. And then even just switching with that, the do-it-yourself version took so much time and so many steps for myself, so many steps for the patient.
Sure.
By streamlining everything, it was easier for me, easier for the patient. And then on top of that, our conversion increased once we switched over to that system. So we're big SmileSnap fans here.
Awesome. Kim, what are you guys using? You said you're using Zoom. What else?
Right. So, via the telephone, starting with the call, they do their paperwork right through our website. So all of that information is already provided, to me before I get their pictures. We send them the link for Zoom meeting. They connect in. I have them do their photos prior to. I make sure the photos are there. If they're not there, I'm calling them. I'm like, hey, you got to give me those pictures. I'm so excited to see what's going on. And we have installed SmileSnap. We are just starting to promote it. So I have a feeling that's going to make it a lot easier because it's going to eliminate all these little steps, that we have to take. Okay, this is how you do pictures. You need to watch the video. You need to connect here. When you go into SmileSnap, it is super easy. I'm so excited about the product. Just super easy. All the information is there. And as Stacy said, they do the side-by-side to show this is what the picture needs to look like, so you actually see that.
What about after? Somebody was asking, like, how do you collect payment and how do you send them the contract?
I email the patient all of the paperwork. Like I said, I email the financial sheet to them while we're going over it. Is this something that you want to do? You know what? Yeah. You know what? I'm ready to do this. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get your contract in order and all the necessary paperwork. I email it to the parent, okay, or the patient. And then I set up a time to call them to review it because you still have to go through your informed consent. You have to go through everything, go over the contract, they sign and email it back. And then we collect over the phone. If they are going to be doing a check or anything like that, they are welcome to drop it in the drop box out front. But usually patients are paying with a credit card when they're on the phone.
Right.
I haven't had too many cash or check drops.
Do any of you use something like DocuSign or anything like that?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Yeah, so just for those that are listening and watching, DocuSign's a very viable source to doing that. I'm sure, Nicole, when you were working for ADT, you guys did a lot of virtual contracts, so that probably came pretty simple for you. So Nicole, what are you guys using?
So similarly, before we just put Smile Snap in, March 15th. It was like that went into place. But
I made a mistake. I'm sorry, you guys. I got to call Greg and I got to get sponsorship for this because I don't know. What was I thinking?
We should all get a code because when people start it, but it's only $150 a month. It's actually
crazy. Yeah.
Not that expensive. But prior to that, we were using Rooster Grin to just schedule appointments online. Mm-hmm. I think patients want that convenience. So we did that. We used the Smile Snap, very similar to just what we already went through. We collect all that up front, makes it much easier to have the consultation. They take the pictures. We can communicate with them over text, over email. And then when we present the finances, I've been using DocuSign for a couple years now, and I would highly recommend it for a couple of reasons. Is once you get all the records, even if they come in the office, they don't have to come back for another appointment. So we're talking about convenience and ease of use. This is just one more thing that adds on for both your virtual and your in-office appointment. So again, not a plug for DocuSign. It's just what we're using.
It's easy. Yeah, it's easy. You can duplicate the template. You can fill in the template where you need. It makes it really, really easy. Laura, have any of your clients told you different and any other sources that, obviously you guys, there's Rhinogram out there. There's Ortho Patients is doing some stuff through Facebook. So there's options out there. But Laura, are there any of your clients that have mentioned other?
No, that's the same. I work with the same as Nicole. We also have an immersion program. I work with Dr. David Walsh. So he's been virtual. He went digital. He's a digital office since he graduated, 6-8 years ago, and now is, and one of the faculty at Align as well. No, so we're Zoom based as well. We had used Zoom based, and prior to even all this, for the convenience of patients, I would just FaceTime for the consult process, just to get them on board with ortho. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So otherwise, they're the experts in this. Another
contract one too that is being mentioned on here, which is so true, is OrthoFi, right? If those of you that have OrthoFi, the sun is coming up, and I'm looking like I'm getting all weird now. So OrthoFi is obviously another great option there. You can share the screen with them. You can show them, what you want to do. Many of you probably haven't heard of, but it just depends on kind of the process you want to take people through or what you want to do. I use eCam. That's what I'm using right now, which allows me to have like the little thing on the side here and then that thing here. I could bring up a document and just put it right on the screen to where you can share with them right there. So eCam, it's a really easy plugin. It works great with Skype, even though I'm using it through Zoom. So those are some other options out there. So here's the big question that a lot of people are asking. They keep asking, what incentive are you giving people, or what is their incentive to sign up now if they can't come in for 1-2 months? How are you having that conversation? And why you do that, I'm going to change my my lighting. Go ahead.
Can I start off on that?
Sure.
Okay. So what Dr. Lupi has done is offer for payment in full, whether it be cash, check, or charge. He's offered to offset costs for patients $1,000 courtesy. Okay. And then if they do a down payment, he is price matching their down payment up to $1,000. So if a patient puts $1,000 down, he'll match it $1,000 for them. If they put $750 down, he'll match the $750. So he is offering that. That right now is going through April 30th. However, we'll talk more about that once we see where we are in the scheme of things, if that's going to continue through May. But patients are taking advantage of that too. And
then are you having them schedule a date that is a tentative date for them to come in?
We are starting to do that. I have done that with the new patients. I've booked them out. I've gone out for that. So, it's a moving target right now. We just don't know. So, but at least we are getting that on the schedule so that, okay, this is the day we're going to do your scan. And if it can happen sooner, I'm going to be on the phone calling you and we're going to bring you in, you know,
Great.
so.
It's all about information, right? Just communication with them, letting them know what's going on. Nicole, what about you guys? How are you guys incentivizing them to sign up right now?
So a couple things. So when I'm on the phone with them, we're offering $500 off of treatment, just like what was mentioned, through April 30th. And then if they do pay in full, normally it's 3% off, because I also accept credit cards, and now it's 10% off, just to incentivize people to do that. And then don't forget about your patients that you've already done consultations for, that you've already gotten their scan. This, you know, it may be super obvious, but you have people out there that you already have the records that haven't started yet. And I'm offering promos to them as well, and reaching out, just making sure that we're getting from all the different directions that we can. So.
Right.
Really, really smart. Think about all the pending people who were ready to get started, or who were excited about it, or the people you actually talked to before. Listen, they're hearing on the news everybody's shut down. First of all, people aren't thinking of you anyway after they leave your office for the most part. That's why I'm a huge fan of follow up until they say no, you should be following up. Not 2 months or 3 months later, just all the whole time. There was somebody who said, how many times should I follow up? One more time. Like, just, that's what you should think of. But now they're seeing on the news, everyone's shut down, we're closed. They've seen your guy on Facebook that says, hey, we're not seeing patients other than emergencies. They're not thinking about you. But if you call them and say, hey, just so you know, we're still doing this and this is great, we can get you signed up, you ready to go. Again, lead them. Stacy, I was going to ask you, you guys are doing over the phone. So you're getting the picture coming in over the phone. What are they signing? Are they signing up for anything right there, or are you waiting until they actually go in and see the doctor?
No, we're offering sign up here. So what we're doing is we're offering 5% by the end of the month if they sign up. And then also we're going to include Excelident at free of charge to make up for the time they missed. So we're letting them
smart.
Right now, Excelident will be included. And then that way, even though it's been, 6, 7, 8 more weeks, they won't lose time. They'll still be on track with their treatment. So we're including Excelident as part of their treatment.
That's awesome. That's really smart. I think that it's good right now. What I want the TCs who are watching this to think about is, yes, we want to incentivize them right now, obviously. And it's easy for us to think myopic of what's happening right now. But I want this to be the conversation that carries on over after the doors are open.
Right.
When doors are open and when business goes back to whatever normal is going to look like, and no matter what the regulations are, whatever the restrictions are going to be, as the TC, you have to be the person who's saying, okay, I'm giving people the opportunity to work with us via virtual, via the phone, whatever. You don't have to bend over backwards, right? Small incentives will help, but you don't have to give away the farm to get people to do it. Right now, I get it. You're giving away some stuff. That's cool. It makes sense. Trying to help people ease that. But once we get back in the office, don't make it a habit is what my point is. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
These are more incentives in this time, but.
That's right.
Right.
I'm always a fan of, instead of giving a discount, add value. And sometimes you got to point out the value. Sometimes you got to say, oh, that's why we don't have you come in for every other appointment. Somebody asked this too. You're all doing this not just with liner treatment. You're doing this with both liner and braces treatment, right?
Yes.
Everyone. Okay, good. So somebody's asking that. Okay.
98% Invisalign. So
Right. Yeah.
So you're very heavy Invisalign, but if somebody really wanted braces, it could happen too.
Right.
Let's go through some comments here, some questions. I actually had an idea based upon Dr. Jane, who's on here, asked a very interesting thing, and maybe we'll be able to have time to do it if we do it quickly. She wanted us to go through and kind of do, I think it's so funny, do a role play of what a virtual exam would look like, even though most of you watching this don't love role plays, and I know this because I talk to so many of you. But we'll do a role play. Maybe we'll have to do a role play. I'll play the patient, and we'll have one of you TCs take me through an exam. But let's see what else we got going on. So that was pretty much there from the top. The Zoom app. Nope. Anybody else any questions they want to answer? And maybe you can jump in if you had any other thoughts that you wanted to.
Dina, I want to add that I think in making the virtual consultation a success is setting up the protocol and workflow with it. So that's one of the things when we set it up, that in our office, it's completely TC led. All I need from Dr. Waldman is the treatment plan. So again, getting those systems in place ahead of time, and now you have time to do it. One of the things, a small step again, you can set up your treatment plans ahead of time. So you can do all this prep work. So when you are back in the office or these patients come in, you know the flow of the system. So it is, again, just doing the workflow up. It comes into, we see it on our dashboard. At that point, I notify Dr. Waldman, I get the treatment plan, contact the patient, and then they go into my, just as if I'd seen them in office, they're in my start needed or pending after I give them fees if they didn't start right away. So I do follow, as you said, the same protocol. So everything that I do in office, and when I make that phone call, I imagine they're sitting right in front of me at the desk. That's the entire conversation. And then it's one of those that if they don't start, it's what I do when they walked away, you know, not saying they start. So again, just having those systems in place ahead of time will make this so much easier. So you're not scrambling of, okay, how are we going to make this work? There's so many patients coming in. Go ahead and set your systems up. And then it just naturally just flows into it. You don't have to panic at any point.
That's great.
But would you say, Kim, in regards to, you know, this is brand new over the last 3 weeks that you've just jumped in, you know, feet first, and you're rolling with it. What somebody had asked me this as well, is, you know, they got nervous about if they do it wrong, or, you know, but I said right now, I think is a perfect opportunity for everyone to understand that we're all under the circumstances, trying to accommodate the new landscape that's ahead of us. And so I think they'll even be more lenient or of understanding if, you know, maybe things aren't ideal. And that because people can feel your intent, if it's just literally like I just want to help you. And the more information you can give me, the more I could customize treatment for you. And I think that's it. I think to give everybody some confidence out there that if you're not comfortable on a Zoom, and this is new for you, and you're wondering how you're going to create magic and build this relationship with them via Zoom. It's just a practice in which we're all practicing right now.
As a matter of fact, Kim, I want you to answer to that. I would even say that sometimes that can work in your advantage.
Right.
To be able to let people know, because I agree with you. I think we're all a lot more forgiving right now because we all are, no matter how cliche it sounds, in this together, right? Like, yeah. Right. Okay, cool. I get it. Cut me off. I understand. We're all upset, whatever. Right. But when it comes to something like this, to be able, obviously in authenticity, to be able to say, hey, I just want you to know this is my first time doing a Zoom, or I've just learned this stuff too. So it might be clunky. So forgive me. And then all of a sudden people are going to go, oh, okay, cool. Right. So Kim, right. What's your experience been?
As you can see, I get nervous in front of a camera. It's different than I feel in a little bit of a different setting for me. But I will tell you that I'm trying to keep it exactly like I do when they are in the office, when they're sitting right in front of me. And the more I do it, the better it gets. You know, right. There's more of a flow to it. There's more of a system. Okay, this is what I need to do first. You know, the first day, I was winging it, and it went well. It did go well, but I think that getting that flow down and having those systems in place that, okay, this is what I need to have to make this work. This is what I need from the patient. This is what I need from the doctor. This is what I need to present, and this is what I need to close. Right. So having all that in front of me, making it a discussion, making it fun, making sure that they understand, still being able to explain. And doing it while they're sitting in front of a camera or computer monitor is incredible. I just think by keeping the systems in place and making sure that there's a flow to it, it'll get easier going forward. And now with all of these tools that we can use, I go back to SmileSnap, Stacy. I got a text from a patient. I was sitting at my kitchen table, and I have it linked to send me a text when a patient calls in or texts in. I sent the text right back, and the mom was so blown away that I responded to her instantly that when I talked to her the next day, she goes, I can't believe you responded that quickly, you know, and she was just very appreciative. And sure. So they're enjoying this. They like it, you know?
I'm telling you, I think I'm going to go back to the mindset again, right? Sorry, when I'm looking down, I'm actually writing notes of what people want to say. I'm not like texting someone. But when it go back to the mindset, right? The mindset of You guys, if you're nervous about it, if you act like it's weird or different, or, oh, I know we're not going to be back for a while, so I'm sorry, then they're going to feel the same way from you. They're going to not move forward. Who wants to get their teeth done by someone who's not confident in what they do?
Right.
So I think Nicole had a really good point, right? When she was saying, yeah, this is just like, okay, so we're going from here to here, here to here, here to here. This is what we do. And so when I teach sales, one of the things I talk about, I think Nicole mentioned earlier about assuming it, right? You just assume that this is what we're doing.
Right.
I teach, we move forward until somebody yells stop. We don't stop for them, right? We're like, no, we're going to go, okay, let's set an appointment here. This is what we're going to do here. And we're going to, Sheila's going to come get you, and you're going to get you in the chair and get you started today, until they're like, wait, stop. And they have a question, which most of the time they're not, or they're going to have a question. We clarify and we move on. It's the same thing. We have to be the ones in control. There are a couple of questions here about the after the yes. So when somebody says yes to you, obviously you have people then come in and do the records that are needed, everything else. I think we can answer that pretty quickly. Yeah, you just create the system for that. We've done everything online that we need to do. Now you're going to come in, as we mentioned, for the, what did you call it, Stacy?
I call it the diagnostic.
The diagnostic.
And again, it's still
like
consult. It still pretty much mimics a new patient appointment. But again, using the terminology with the patient of, no, you've done your consultation. We're moving on to the next part. You're already an insider type.
Yeah,
deal.
we're getting you started. Like, this is just an assumed thing we're starting. Somebody had an interesting question in here. I wonder, does anybody do a virtual office tour that you've given to people to say this is what the office looks like? And I know that's a big deal for people to have that tour, but does anybody do a virtual office tour?
I think a lot of virtual tours are on people's websites. Anytime I go to visit a practice, it's often there already. And some of them even have kind of the blueprint even. So that's what I'd recommend, is have them on your website.
Please don't send me hate mail for this. Don't. I'm just telling you my experience for when I go to offices and I see this whole choreographed dance that you do when new people come in. The tour, it's so nice and it's so not needed.
Yeah,
it's so not needed.
Right.
No one goes, oh my gosh, that's what a toothbrushing station looks like. This is amazing. I must go here.
Right.
Like, no one, and I get it. I'm not trying to like make anybody feel bad, but I'm just saying right now you're in a place where you have to streamline what you're talking about and what you're doing. And the virtual exam is going to help you do that. So don't get caught up in all of the stuff that we used to do.
Correct. That's
because now we need to shift it.
Yeah. Right. If we're concentrating against around people's time, yeah, that's it. We can combine 3 appointments, which used to be the new patient phone call, plus the welcome email, plus the 20 minutes with the treatment coordinator, all in one virtual appointment.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything. Anybody have any? Somebody asked a question about HIPAA compliance with Zoom. I believe that Zoom does have a medical one you can actually invest in, but right now I've been told, anyway, don't quote me on this, I'm not an attorney, that they've loosened up those regulations right now for what's happening.
They have.
There you go.
Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Okay.
Add on the exam, the doctor that asked to kind of do the role play, not that we don't want to do the role play, but don't get caught up in that this has to be so new. You do a consultation every day, and I think it's just staying with what you're doing right now. So don't try to recreate the wheels too much. You already have a process that works. It's the same thing when you're online with people. You're connecting with them, asking about how they are, building that personal relationship, connecting with them on a few things, and then moving into, here's what we're going to do. It doesn't really have to be that different. And I would assume the other TCs on the phone would feel the same way, as you don't really have to recreate it. There might be some tweaks, but it's what you're doing today already.
Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So here's a question. Somebody says yes to you. You go through all the process. They say they sign the contracts, they send you the money, all that fun stuff. And they come in for their diagnostic and they have an impacted tooth. What happens? What do you do? How do you change course when you've already got somebody moving forward?
In our office, so if that happened, of course, then we go ahead with the diagnostic visit as if we were. So most of these patients are Invisalign patients that we treat. So we would go ahead and complete the examination, do the digital scan, and say, okay, we're going to refer you to the oral surgeon. In the meantime, Dr. Waldman's going to go ahead and start working on your digital plan. So they know we're working behind the scenes, which we really are. You know, we're prepping for it, we're coordinating with the surgeon, we're figuring out what the next steps are. So we're still moving forward with it. We don't put the brakes on at that point. But at that point, you do need to really handhold the patient through that entire process. So that's how we handle it.
What about you, Nicole?
So if before we act, when we give them the quote, I do tell them ahead of time. So there are things that we might see on the x-ray that we don't see right now. I usually ask them about implants. I ask them, you know, we try to look at all of that. But this timing is really subject to when the doctor can see you. In terms of having to adjust the fees, we usually just leave the fees where they're at, but the treatment timing and procedure might just look a little bit different. And so we just prep them ahead of time. So the expectation is we do have to check the boxes when you come in. And that's also how we're different than, like, dare I say it, but Smile Direct Club, right? We still are the doctor. We're still taking the diagnostic records. And that's what people, that's our differentiator. So I think we need to keep that in mind too.
So important.
That was the point. Sorry, Stacey.
No, go ahead.
That was the point I was going to make as well, is that even though we're going virtual and we could reach more people at the comfort of their home, we now even have the opportunity and platform to tell them the benefits of seeing an orthodontist and a specialist in regards to the importance of fixing your bite, not just your alignment, and how these are only one set of teeth for our lifetime. And if they're not fixing this, there could be a lot of consequences that they can suffer. And so I think, again, in the past, we were almost like, we're not going to tell you a lot over the phone because you need to come in for a consult for us to tell you anything. So people were almost like, I don't think they need it. Jimmy's smile's nice. So again, I think by now this new platform, by reaching new people, they'll have a better understanding of why Smile Direct Club is not the route to go, root problems. So that's just exactly. That's just a
there's so much evidence to that. There's a book called The Challenger Sale, and in there they have this huge study in there, and they talk about the customer experience of what creates loyalty. And the number one thing, overwhelmingly, that creates loyalty is the education of this during the sales process. So what that sales process look like. So Laura, like you're right on. Just educate them, and they're going to appreciate that. Because I tell you, you're right, and I would say, I don't care, Smile Direct Club, they're not going to teach them this. They're not going to go through all these steps. I know from personal experience, many people know that I actually went through the Smile Direct Club system. I actually wore their aligners for 4 months, jacked up my teeth, because I knew I was going to get Invisalign anyway, but I wanted to be able to speak to it. I wanted to be able to say, no, like I'm a patient who is not happy, and I went through it. And I also know the stuff that they did that was good. You know what they do really well? Follow-up. You know what they really do really well? Email marketing. You know what they do really well? Their packaging and their branding. So there's stuff to learn from that. Here's a big question that is so right on. And I love this. People are worried or asking, is the doctor involved in the exam?
In my office, yes. So is that what you mean? Like when they come to the office and do the exam?
No, when they're talking to you through your virtual appointment.
Well, I'm different again. I'm over the phone. So no, I just use him for the treatment plan, and then I take it from there, and then he's not involved.
Use it for the treatment.
I mean,
No.
We know what you meant.
Great statement. Guys, orthodontists are the best people in the whole wide world to move teeth. And treatment coordinators are the best people in the whole wide world to move people into orthodontic treatment. So let us move the world and let everyone who we couldn't reach before into orthodontic treatment so the world can be smiling during these sad times.
That's awesome. Commercial. Kim, Dr. Lupi's involved?
He is involved, yes. He actually he is there right when the patient is joining in. He's the first person that they see, and he introduces himself and he thanks them for zooming in. He's got a couple little things that he says, which I'm enjoying watching him kind of loosen up with that, talking to them about, hey, what are you doing to have fun? What are you doing to keep busy? And I love that But then he's talking to them about their pictures. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I think we would need to do. And then when he gets done, and it's a pretty quick conversation, you know, to the point, he turns it over to me, and he'll leave the room just like he would if the patient was actually there, and I take over and go through everything.
I think it's great, giving the confidence that's there, giving the, know that the doctor here is a part of it. That's awesome. And I mean, I'm not a huge proponent of the doctor being very long in a personal exam anyway, right? No offense to my docs, I love you all, but sometimes you can screw up the sale. So we want to make sure that that you do what awesome. You tell them your magic and your awesomeness and how great you are, and you pass that on over. And you can do that same way. Nicole, what do you guys do? Do you have the doctor involved?
I do, but I don't have him involved right away. So I usually, start the call, introduce myself, and connect with the patient, just find out what's important to them, and get some of those details, and then I pop it over. Now, a lot of times we're in the same office together. If we're not,
I was just going to ask you that. That's so cool. You're the psychic one. Forget Stacy. You're the psychic one. So sometimes you're not in the same office then, and you do that.
Yeah. So if we're not in the same office, I'll just have him log in, and then I'll still ask those questions, and then have him pop in, because I think, just like Laura said, we have the people skills, and usually if the doctor starts out, it's like 15 minutes later, and then all the best. But my doctor likes to talk a lot, and so I try to rein him in so that we can focus on why we're here. And so seems to work a little bit better that way. But either way, I just think some FaceTime, they really value that. It doesn't have to be long, 5 minutes.
I love it. And I love, look, the fact is that it's called, in medicine, right? We accept telemedicine in the sense of there can be a doctor at one hospital and he can Zoom in or any other tool that they use to talk to patients. I've been involved in it. I was there when my father-in-law my mom's husband, so I guess he's my stepfather. He was having a heart problem, and they're like, oh, the doctor's going to see you in just about 5 minutes. And we're thinking, okay, we got to leave the room. And sure enough, they turn on the TV and he's right there. So I love that you can do that too, where you don't always have to have the doctor. How many of you TCs out there right now have a situation where you have 2 or 3 offices and the doc's in one office and you're not able to do an exam because he's not there with you in the office that you're in? Now you can. Now you can set that up. So it's an added benefit and bonus to being able to close more people when not everybody's in the same office. There's so many ways that we can play around with that. I
think in the future, we've been doing some virtual just appointments just to check on their aligner wear or their just where they're at. If they have questions, instead of having them drive in and have us sit with them for 30 minutes, we can quickly do it. And so that helps streamline and hopefully open up more opportunity, to close business. So I think there's just a lot in virtual that we got to use.
Well, yeah,
100%. Go ahead, Laura.
With Dr. Dayan, I had the opportunity we've been treating patients, 75% of our patients with Invisalign for 15 years since I started with him. And a lot of our patients were adults who had suffered the consequences of not having the opportunity to have orthodontic treatment. So I would, saw thousands and thousands upon people who said, why didn't I know this? If I had just done orthodontic treatment, I could have prevented this life of XYZ. So, but we understood that adults were busy and they didn't want to come in. And so part of the verbiage we changed in regards to even, when I would present treatment's going to take 18 months or 24 months, we all know those people are like, we thought it would take 5 months. We thought it'd be done in 2 months. And so I started changing it where we really focused on improving our system so that we could see a patient in ideally 6, 8, 10 appointments, and even less when Dr. Dayan started traveling more himself with Invisalign and teaching. And we saw patients from Israel and Florida and New York, and they were coming to his practice to get treated by his magical cases. you know, in that case, then we wanted from start to finish 4 appointments. So we could do things virtually. And I think everybody, I see also the huge great thing is we're all giving patients more responsibility because we have no choice. We can't see them. And guess what? They're amazing. I can tell you from experience that the more responsibility and fantastic instructions that you can give them, and that they're of understanding of the partnership they're responsible for in order to have successful treatment results, then they're going to be amazing. And I know, Dino, sorry, one last thing. I know we were talking about how, you know, if we have an example under this circumstances of how the public needs instructions at the most basic level for washing our hands.
It's so true.
Right? And I'm not even, my father has said for my son's sake, you know, like 5 to 10 different child videos for social distancing. And I'm going, oh, that's what it means. Like, so, you know, even for the 2 most simplest things. So I think everything that we had given them orthodontically in the past and questioned why they weren't compliant, it's because of the way we were over their heads and they didn't feel comfortable to tell us this. And then they thought that, you know, maybe that's why they weren't successful, but guys, we could do it. Right? If we go,
it's a really good point. It's a really good point that we have to understand that sometimes we do just assume that our language makes sense to them.
Totally.
I'll even go deeper than the hands washing example. Like, how many of you don't know how to put a seatbelt on the airplane? Like, but yet every time you get on the plane, someone's telling you how to unbuckle the buckle and plug it in. Right? Every single time.
Right.
We as human beings, we just need that instruction, and we need to be led through that process. And so if you are the leader, you're the person they're calling in. Yep, exactly. In layman's terms, make it easy. You got to be really careful. One of the things that I talk about is recording yourself while you're doing this. And boy, now you have a platform where through Zoom, you're going to be able to record yourself. You're going to be able to see how you're presenting yourself. You're going to see where you're totally distracted and looking away, and people aren't going to see feel that connection with you. So recording yourself to see how you can improve, not to say I gotcha, but to see how you can improve on it. So, all right. So people are clamoring still. There's a couple of doctors who think that we started a role play and we never did. I was talking about doing a role play. So let's do this real quick. Let's pretend that I am a patient and I've called in, and I've never called in before. So I'll see if I can do this. I'm going to be the patient because I'm not a TC. Who wants to be the TC?
I'll do it.
All right, Stacy. All right.
I haven't taken a new patient call in a while, so no, I'm kidding.
That's okay. That's okay. I haven't been a new patient in a while, so we're good. So good.
Hey, role playing. Hey, let's just go for it. So.
All right. So I'm Dino. I've called in. I've already sent you the Smile Snap stuff, and people have on here said, yeah, look, the point is there's a lot of different. Somebody was like, well, why don't you just have them do it on Zoom and have them look forward? Great. Whatever floats your boat is great. There's no must-haves there, except for HIPAA. Other than that, do what makes it work for you and your company. Right now, we're just going to act as if I sent you Smile Snap pictures already. I have, I don't know, make up what I have and how terrible it is, and tell me why I need braces.
I know, on the phone call, I keep it pretty simple. So, and one of the things too, though, actually thinking of I'm jumping, we're going to do role play really quick, but we do want to make it convenient for the patient. So we don't want to stop moving forward if they don't have time to do the video consult. So I know in LA, it's hard to, our greatest time is catching them in the car when they're in traffic. So it's not a time where we can do the video. So one of those is we do want to just push forward with the phone call, and great if you can do it with a video too, fantastic, but don't let that stop.
That's a really great point. I hope everybody got that, you guys, is that, you know, just because they can't do the virtual right there. Somebody was asking earlier, what time of day do you do it? Right now, pretty much any time probably works. Do night appointments and stuff like that. And we can talk about that. But that's a point that I really want to stress is don't let the virtual, the video camera thing stop you from moving forward. A phone call works. We've been doing it for, lots of years. So we're going to pretend that we're actually on the virtual, on the screen. And I've sent it in, and we're also going to, because people are going to ask us, I'm sure. Yes, you already have my insurance information because I'm really good patient. I filled out all the information and Kim called me twice to make sure I would send in the pictures. And you have the x-ray from my dentist, and I just got a cleaning 5 months ago.
Okay, so actually, if this is like the video one, I would like to see how Kim's doing or someone else, because I haven't done the video one.
Okay.
On my phone.
All right.
I'd like to see how this is done, really.
Stacy just reneged and volunteered Kim. And Kim, I'm the easiest patient you're ever going to have. So.
And you know how I am with this, so all right.
Kim, you're killing it. You're killing it.
Kim, how you doing?
Okay. Hey, Dino, how are you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you. I'm kind of nervous about doing this, but.
Oh, well, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. So let me ask you a couple questions. We got your paperwork. Thank you so much for sending that over. I also have your photos in front of us. Dr. Jones was able to send us the necessary x-rays that we needed to be able to do a good assessment for you. I just had a couple questions for you. So I see you've had past orthodontic treatment before?
Yeah, I had it when I was a kid, about 12 years old. I actually had braces for 4 years.
Okay. Did you have any type of appliance that you used? Did you have an expander, a headgear?
Oh yeah, I had headgear. I had headgear. Yeah, thanks for bringing up the bad memories. But yeah, I had headgear, and I had a name like Dino in the 70s, and yeah, it's bad. Thanks.
Okay, so what concerns did you have about your smile today? If there was something I could change for you, or Dr. Lupi could change for you instantly, what would you tell me that would be?
Yeah, I think my biggest concern is, number one, I bite my cheeks quite a bit when I'm like eating, and I even if I'm eating slow, I don't know if that's part of it, but it's one of the challenges. I hate it. I just bite my cheeks on the side every once in a while, and like a big chunk. And then I feel like I'm touching my teeth on the front, like both of them together, where they hit like this instead of, isn't it supposed to be different? I mean, I know it's not supposed to be over too much, but I do hit right on the top.
Okay, so the bite, you feel like you're hitting right on the edges of your teeth. Okay, yes, that is something that Dr. Lupi is going to want to address with you, okay? And based on the photos that we have, we can clearly see that. So what is going to happen is we're going to have Dr. Lupi step in. He's going to do the consult with you. He's going to talk to you about how everything is looking, and then I'm going to take over. He'll talk to you about everything. Did you have any specific questions that you want addressed at this time?
Yeah, well, I do a lot of speaking and in front of people, and I really don't want braces. I know I have a friend who has braces right now, and it's great and all, but he's an adult, and I just think it looks weird to have braces as an adult. So I'm really more interested in Invisalign. If I can't do that, then I don't know if I want to move forward.
Okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that and make sure that we're able to do that for you. Invisalign, as you know, is a series of clear shell aligners that will move your teeth just like the braces would. You have to be a candidate for it. What about the braces would bother you?
Just
if you
the look.
had braces, the look of them?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with ceramic braces?
Nope.
Did you know that they do make ceramic braces? So they are a ceramic material. They blend in nicely with the color of the tooth. That may be a good option for you if we can't do the clear aligner. The clear braces might work for you. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know about that. That's okay. Yeah. I'd be okay talking about that.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to let Dr. Lupi talk to you. I'll be right back with you. So that is what I've been doing with Dr. Lupi, Dino, is he's been in front of the camera first, and then I'm coming into it. So
the way you just did that, though, I think could also work. That sounds like what, Nicole, you do pretty much.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, just getting to the main concern, figuring out what their concern is and how you can present that to Dr. Lupi and how he can better assess that. You want to make sure they understand that there are other options. You know, there are things that we can do that they may not be aware of. And you can convey that doing this in that virtual setting just as nicely, you know, with your presentations, with showing and doing demo. And, you know, I've had, this past week has been just amazing with that. And patients really like that they're able to see things, you know, with me.
Can I ask you all, do you feel like it's made you streamline the presentation a little better? One of the things that I always get a little hung up when I go in and I observe in an exam is sometimes it feels like there's this script that has to be gotten through. Even if somebody, like when I said I wasn't excited or I didn't care about getting braces, that I only wanted liners, I've been in plenty exams where still you see them shift to like, well, let me explain what these are. And this goes into here. And then now it's like they're going through the different scenes in their head of how they were taught to present. So do you feel like this has you streamline a little more because of the time crunch or because of the focus?
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Kim, because you're leading.
I was just saying that I think that doing it the way that we've been doing it, there's no reason why I can't do this in a setting where the patient is actually right in front of me, where we've got the paperwork already, everything's done. He's already evaluated, you know, the x-ray. He just needs, you know, to look at the pictures and tell me what to do, you know. I think that I could really crunch that time down, that we dedicate 1 hour to the exam, but I'm doing pictures, photos, x-ray, case presentation, and same day start. So I fill that hour with as much as I can possibly do. But I think that it can be streamlined.
That's awesome. How about any of you? Have you noticed? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So,
I'm seeing the screen. It looks like you're still talking because I'm seeing the screen of all the questions, but you're not. And I was like, oh, I cut you off. I didn't mean to. So what about you, Stacy? Do you feel like it streamlines you and Nicole?
Yeah, so definitely for me, of course, I realized that you can really cut out a lot of conversation. Patients really want to get down to the bottom because I'm on the phone. So I don't have, you know, I'm not doing the luxury of, did you have this or what this, you know, I get that a little bit during the new patient call. What are your concerns? But it's the, you know, typical new patient call where you're gathering the information. But basically what I've learned from this is, okay, so you can fix it with Invisalign, cool. So it's like, they don't need to know all the details anymore like we used to go into, here's how it's gonna work, we'll change it out.
Or we used to think they needed the information.
We had to hold their hand through that, which they do need instructions like you said, but they really, all they wanna hear is, yeah, you can fix my teeth with Invisalign. Great.
Correct.
So that's, so I've really shortened my conversation down.
Yeah.
Nicole, you too?
Yeah, how much it's going to be, how long it's going to take, and will it work? And I would say too that, you know, we should always be flexible. Like, I think we get caught up in this. We have the question and then we have the answer, and we got to just be real. So it's not about being scripted. It's just about listening to the question and just genuinely answering it. I think when we get scripted, they feel like they're being sold to. Totally. So although it might be comfortable initially, and I don't mean that in a bad way, Kim, like it's good to have your
no.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's about being just flexible, and you're building trust because you are listening to what that consumer or the customer is asking, you know?
And you're being present.
So I might add, like, Dino, if you said you have your experience at end-to-end bite, I'd go, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. Because do you know what happens if you leave that? There's two things that happen if you leave an end-to-end bite. One is that your teeth they're in traumatic bite. So they could wear down irregularly. Or number two, they could start jiggling, which one of my bestest of friends at age 41 suffered the consequence of a fraction. And
so jiggle like my stomach jiggles or what?
Totally jiggly like your stomach. So they could jiggle it literally. And then I would talk about crown to root ratio. So I would be like, I'm so glad you're on this chat.
That's so glad
because we can help you orthodontically. And in 6, 8, 10 appointments, we can have you out and living a life and keeping your teeth healthy.
So one of the things I think everybody on the call is probably wondering is what you're on, Laura. No, I'm just kidding. Because the energy and passion that you bring to it, and all of you, right? All of you are obviously passionate about what you do. And we've already had somebody said earlier, we should have Laura be doing commercials for orthodontics and everybody would get treated.
Yes.
Like we love it. And that's awesome. But here's what I love. Again, let's go back to the beginning. People don't want to be a salesperson. Yet, what about that was salesy? It was, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. Check this out. If you're passionate about what you do,
right.
If you truly do believe that orthodontics is important for people to have, then that's how you approach it. And nobody's going to go, man, you're so salesy. They're going to go, oh, wow. I was like, no, I didn't know that. Like, okay, cool. That's amazing.
Right,
So
that's
now,
what I'm saying.
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that because when I'm out at a party or at a cottage or at a wedding in Mexico, I sold 2 people in Mexico at my friend Shannon's wedding because of my excitement about what I do and the magic we bring to the table. And that's what I'm saying is that if we just come at it, a genuine intent of just helping people out of the predicaments they're in with the foundation they have, that's what I would love all of us to learn and share.
I love that we can hear the pounding of your hand on the thing too. That's great. Kim, the question real fast. we're going to continue with the role play, but a little differently. But Kim, somebody asked you, you guys do a lot of braces treatment, not you're not 98% Invisalign, right?
No, we are not 98% Invisalign. We are probably, I would say, about 60-40 braces, 40 Invisalign. The number is going up. So the Invisalign same day starts are really quick and to the point, but when you do the brace option, it's a 2-step process, but we're doing that step. That first step is the molds, and because we're using indirect bonding, molds paperwork, and we're usually able to get them in the next week to do the braces.
That's awesome. Yes, Laura, I don't know if you know Janelle Baum, but she wants to be in the commercials with you. You guys would be a perfect fit.
She has a whole TikTok.
I know. You guys should do it together. So people are asking us to continue on with the role play. Nicole, can I have you close this case? You heard what the whole thing was, what Kim talked about. Let's go with just a straight Invisalign and worry about that. Let's say that Dr. Lupi said, yes, Invisalign is a good choice. People want to hear you close the case.
Okay, great. I get the closing. Yeah.
You get the money.
So do you already know? Well, I'll just go through how I close. So, as you heard from the doctor, your treatment time, or you are a great candidate for Invisalign. Your treatment time will probably be about 10 to 12 months. And the cost for that treatment is going to be $5,500. What that treatment's going to include is everything from today until the end of treatment. So all of your visits, all of your aligners, your first set of retainers, any questions that you have, like I mentioned, we're going to do probably a few, maybe 1 or 2 refinements where we'll rescan your mouth and we'll get you a few additional aligners. That's just part of the process. There's no additional cost for that. And at the end of the day, we're going to get you that bite that you've been looking for. We're going to take care of, we're going to create some room so that you're not pressing on those teeth and ruining them over time.
Does the refinement start my treatment over again?
No, it doesn't. So we're going to give that to you. And then we have a couple different payment options. So as you can see on your screen, because I usually will share my screen and say, you have the option to pay up front. There is a courtesy to do that. You also have an option to pay in-house. There is no interest, but we'll break out your payments for you where we'll do a percentage down and some monthlies. And then we also have the option to just outsource completely so that you don't have to put any money down, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility. And, in that case, we can give you some options. If you want to pay over 24 months or 60 months, we've got some options to do that.
So I would just do all of this when I come in, right? Like you're not asking me to do this right now.
Oh, well, I'm ready for you to do it right now, Dino.
Oh, can you do it right now?
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
So the next step would be is that we use DocuSign. You're probably familiar if you've refinanced or done something like that, where we just send it all to you electronically. Mm-hmm. You'll review the contract. You just let me know what payment option works the best for you. I'll send that over to you. As soon as I get that, we will get you started. And what I'm gonna do as well is just set up your next appointment. So as we mentioned, we'd like to see you face to face. And that's gonna be a quick, hey, the doctor wants to see you, confirm everything that he saw online, take a few records, and we'll have you in and out of the office in probably about 20 minutes.
But I can't come in because of COVID, so what do I do?
You're right. So as soon as we open up our doors and we're able to see patients, I'm scheduling out after May 15th. I'm going to schedule a 20-minute just quick appointment for you. That's fluid. If that changes, we can move it out. But I'm just putting people on the calendar. That way, as soon as the doors open, we're ready to go.
So is it something I need to remember if like, how do I know if you're going to change it?
Oh, I will be on top of it, Dino.
Oh, okay. All right. That's cool. So I can just, do I send payment? Like, is there a portal that I go to? Is there a website?
I'm going to send you, you're going to get an email from me from DocuSign. You're going to go through and just read through it and complete it. And there will give you the option to put in your credit card information there. And from there, as soon as I get that, I'll confirm that receipt. And then you're set to go. You've got all that paperwork taken care of. You've put down your deposit if you want to pay in full. And then, like I said, that next and final step would just be to come in, you know, May 15th, take your records, and then we'll get you going in your aligners by June 1st.
That sounds awesome. Let's do it. So hopefully that was enough for everybody there. Here's a big question for you that I just thought of when you say that. So now, Nicole, I said, yes, I've signed the documents. I'm ready to go. Kim, everybody can answer this question. What if anything, and if you don't, it's totally fine. I want to have a conversation around this. What, if anything, do you do between now and May 15th when I can get in? Is there anything you guys do special for the patients? Is there anything you send out to them? Is there any connection you make? What do you guys do?
We're actually offering whitening treatment in the meantime. So we're going to mail them whitening kits. So they'll
Awesome.
whitening their teeth until they're ready to come in, which patients are really excited about it. So that's what we're doing.
Smart. Anyone else?
Very smart.
Okay. I would highly recommend everybody who's watching this, if you're going to do that, send them something to remember you by. Send them something to let them feel like their treatment started. I love the teeth whitening kit stuff. Oh, I get to start treatment ahead of time. I would even say that to people. Hey, we want to get you started right away. Nothing better than get your teeth white and bright while you're waiting for us. So we're going to send that out to you. Send them, you know, a thank you card for sure. Send them a little tiny gift. You can send brownies. You can
Toilet
something.
paper.
What's that?
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Not the toilet paper with your doctor's face on it. We don't want that. We want just regular toilet paper. Yeah. So
on what whitening option that you're sending out, because we usually use our Invisalign trays to be able to whiten. So I if that's a question for me, I'm thinking it might be for the people watching as well.
I think we're using, okay, I'm not in the office, so I think we're using Opal Go, but this is what's funny. We promised this, and Dr. Walton went by the office, and we had no whitening kits in our office. So we had to rush a speed order to get the whitening kits in. So I'm actually not sure, but I think we were using Opal Go last time, but I don't know if they ordered something different at the time, because again, I'm not in the office with them of what they've sent out.
Okay.
you know, it's stuff like that too. I'm pretty sure I might be speaking out of turn, so she can tell me later on if I am. But if anybody belongs to Mary's list, she's got a lot of good options for stuff like that, for whitening kits and some other things that are possible to send out to people. The toothbrushes, things, anything to remind them of you is important. Laura, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, you know, magical things. You know, one of the things that Kim mentioned became a magical thing is just that how impressed that mom was that she answered her text right away. That's just a magical thing. Even during the conversation, if there's something that you've learned about them, whether they have a hobby or X, Y, Z, could you imagine if you received, you know, if someone said, Laura, I love your lipstick. I say, oh, it's MAC number, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh my gosh, I love it. Imagine if I sent them my lipstick, not my literal lipstick, but bought them their own. It's like, if you could, whatever you could customize, that's the added value. Because yeah.
Laura, I'm sorry. You said something weird there. XY what?
We say XYZ. Yes, I know. You guys say that, right? What do you guys say?
Z.
Yes, Zed. Zed.
Okay. So,
am I the only Canadian? Yes, I'm the only Canadian, eh?
yeah.
Eh?
We're all Canadian in heart, though. Somebody asked about DocuSign. I need answers on cost, if anyone can answer. So it just varies on the subscription you have. Like I have a subscription for my clients, there's DocuSign. It's not a high volume subscription, so there's just going to vary. Charlie, yeah, 10,000 a year would be interesting. I don't know why. I've never heard of anything being that high for DocuSign, but I don't know. So yeah, that's there. From OCEC, do you have certain hours or on call? Stacy, do you have certain hours or are you on call?
Certain hours of when we're doing our virtual consultations.
Yeah.
We're pretty much sticking to our hours. So when they submit it, then I always say we're back in touch within 1 to 2 business days. So we're sticking with our normal schedule, if that's what you mean.
Well, but for you, you're in Florida. The office. Yeah.
Sorry, I work LA hours. So I
work
get
LA hours.
I work our hours when our office is open. Sorry, I didn't know what you meant.
No, that's totally good. Let's see. Somebody else. Let's see any other questions here. I just wrote a note down, Nicole, when you had said that you don't charge interest on things. That would be my next crusade, is to getting people to actually charge interest on stuff, on in-house payments or whatever. It's the only industry that we have out there that does not charge interest for money. And so that's a whole nother topic. Don't write me any emails, people, I know. But as somebody who is not in this industry, when I walked into that I was in the industry, when I came to the industry, I was like, really? You're going to give somebody money for 18 to 24 months and not charge them interest? Who does that? No one does that. And people are expecting you to do that. But anyways, we'll go on. DocuSign is free for 30 days. Try it out. DocuSign is free. All right. Any other questions that everybody wanted to have answered? I probably didn't answer them all. There were so many. There's over 220 comments, so I'm sure I didn't answer all of them. Anything that you guys wanted to we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. So anything you guys want to really make sure is shared with them, for people who are thinking about doing this, or still concerned, or still worried. Anything you want? Any words of wisdom?
I think from my end, one of the things you want to think about is how you're going to use this going back into once you're able to see patients again. Of course, we have no idea what it's going to look like if we go back to regular schedule, but finding the person in your office who can handle the virtual consultations, because you don't want to go in and overload your in-office TC, because you will be busy with those patients. So again, if you have someone, I'm pushing the remote position, if you have someone that can handle this, because if not, one of this is going to get left behind, and it will be the virtual consults, and these are solid, great starts that that you wouldn't otherwise have. So I just think identifying that person that can manage the system for you.
I agree. Somebody asked, do you do the financial presentation? I think, Kim, you mentioned you send them the documents, they can look at them. I also mentioned through eCam, you can just pop it up on the screen. Nicole, you do that too, where you just pop it up on the screen, right?
Yeah, and we use GoToMeeting. I mean, I've used Zoom, but people have had some concerns about it, so we've always used GoToMeeting. Same thing. Share.
Really good point. If you're using Zoom, everyone, please make sure you're using the Zoom with a password needed coming in. That's more secure. There obviously were some challenges with that at the very beginning, of course, but just use the password protected one. Again, it makes people feel like it's specific to them and their needs. So we did a role play. I haven't seen a lot of applause and what's it called, encores, or what do you call them, bravos. That's what it is, bravos for our role play, because I thought we did a stellar job. I thought the patient was like Oscar worthy. I'm just saying. Where is it?
Dino playing Dino.
Dino playing Dino. It's hard. It's hard to play him. Not a lot of people like that dude. Okay. Would you want to call the patient first or email them first about the virtual consult? How do you approach the virtual consult? That's a good question. Like for maybe your pendings, or people who were in your who were supposed to come in for appointments, but then everything closed down. That might be a good question there. How are you approaching people for this?
We're sending a direct invite to the patient. So we're calling them, and then I'm sending them a link, inviting them to start the process virtually.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, it's a phone call. A phone call, explaining the process. Hey, even though we can't see you in the chair, we can still see you, and you get to do this from the comfort of your own home, and they really are receptive to it.
Have you had experience with anybody turning you down due to finances of COVID? And if you have, what has been your approach? How do you have that conversation?
I haven't had that yet. That hasn't been a topic. I have had one insurance where they were out of network, and so the out of network benefit was different than the in-network benefit. So that was their hesitation. And, I told them, I said, research, do your research, with expenses. But I actually made contact with them today, and they are going to go with our office. They just want to make sure they have all their finances in order before they commit to it. But that I haven't really had any COVID concerns yet.
Okay. How about Nicole? How about you?
I was going to say two things is just like when they're in the consultation and they say, oh, I need to go home and talk to my spouse, or they have things that come up, you want to make sure that that's not the real reason. So I usually stop them and say, I completely understand. Is there anything I haven't answered today? Or is there anything that, was unclear? I want to make sure I might have missed something. And so they're using that. I think acknowledging that situation, they're going to put more trust in you and then come back around. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you even acknowledging it way beforehand, right? Bring it up. If that's one of your concerns. By the way, I'm always a fan of if there's more than one time in a week that somebody brings something up, another patient brings something up, it's a clue to me that I need to actually address it beforehand. So yeah, use that and say, hey, I know, man, thanks for meeting with me. Even though we're in the middle of this COVID-19 crisis, we're moving forward with all of our plans, and address it. Listen, I think you're exactly right. Everybody that's on this call, that's tuning in, remember, the process that you're doing is the same. Their excuses, their concerns, whatever, are going to be the same. Use your skills, use your sales techniques the same way. I would highly recommend you guys reading books like Never Split the Difference, Persuasion, Influence. Those are great books for you guys to understand the psychology around why people are saying what they're saying. And, it's okay to be a little bold. It's okay to, I teach my TCs. I know it's a little bold, but I say, what, I totally understand. What I found is that there's really only 3 reasons people don't move forward with our treatment. 1, they don't trust themselves. 2, they don't trust us. Or 3, they just really don't want to make a decision either way. Which one might it be for you? Now, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go like, yeah, I just don't trust myself. Or I don't really feel like it's like I understand what's going on here. Or if I can trust you guys to do it. Cool. Now you know, and you can move forward. You guys use your same skills is my point. Use your same skills. All right.
More to the same on what Stacy said. Make sure the proper person is in that role to help motivate patients and help with the communication skills to get patients wanting to do treatment.
If this is okay with all of you, somebody asked, is there a way that they can connect with all of these amazing TCs? What would be the best way for them to connect with you guys?
Let's see, they can email me, stacy@waldmanorthodontics.com. And then also, Small Step actually puts on webinars. So I'm leading a webinar next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time on how to set up the workflow. So even now with current patients, new patients, and then how we're going to transition into going back into seeing patients. So that's next week. So I'll be leading a webinar. I have a link. I don't know how to do a link, but it's like webinars.smallsnap.com, and that'll get you to where. So email me, or we'll see next week.
Cool. Nicole?
I would say email is probably the best. Nicole@losaltosortho.com. And I assume maybe you could put some of this on, or we can put it on Facebook too.
Yeah. Feel free to tag everybody on Facebook. If you're watching this, friend them on Facebook and send them a message as well too. Laura?
Yeah, I'm LC bottom score on my. Sorry, I was going to say my Instagram link. Cafik-Martin Coaching is my coaching site, as well as on Your Ortho Coach. So I coach people virtually now on there. Probably best way to connect with me, and or as you said, connect here on Facebook, and then we can communicate. But as Nicole said, we'll put our information up for everybody.
Awesome. How about you, Kim?
info@drlupiortho.com, DRLUPI ortho.com.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay. Let's do this too. Laura, you mentioned this, and I think we might as well do this. If you don't have it, if you're not interested, that's fine too. I do want to make another shout out to everybody. Remember, go to my Instagram right there, because we're doing the giveaway. It stops, what's today? Wednesday? It's just another day. I think it's Friday is the end of it. We're doing a virtual camera, giving you a camera, giving you a microphone, giving you a training around that. We're having a competition. It's over on Friday. So go to my Instagram at Dino_Watt. Laura, what was yours?
LC_Mart. I thought you were like, that's enough, Laura. I'm muting you.
Never. Nicole, how about you?
I'm not really on Instagram that much. So I would say follow us at Boschkin Orthodontics, or email me and I'll get better about it. I post every 3 months.
That's okay. I post way too much, so that actually balances the universe. Stacy, what about you?
Not really on Instagram. I think we're like Waldman Ortho. I'd have to even look it up to see what we are. So
I'm an attention whore. What can I say? I mean, it's like, I'm sorry. It's like I'm taking over for all of you guys. I feel bad. Okay, so let's wrap it up. We're at an hour and 50 minutes. Let's just finish it up at the top of the hour. Then if you guys are all game, then you guys can go have a glass of champagne and enjoy the rest of your evening. But we want if you have any last minute questions, you guys, by the way, let me just say this, and I know people have been saying this online here. You all rock. Kim, I think you're somewhere here still.
I'm here. I'm still doing my
Okay,
videos. My phone's going dead. I apologize.
No problem. You're good. But I just want you all to know, like, you are amazing. First of all, from the bottom of my heart, just thank you for doing this and, to being willing to share your expertise, share how awesome you are. I hope we get to meet someday, on person. Virtual is cool and all, but in person would be great just to kind of be around you and see how amazing you're doing. You guys are changing the world. I tell this story all the time from my own perspective. When I was doing the role play, I really did have braces for 4 years. Like, I was a terrible patient. I was awful, but I loved my braces because they actually gave me a reason to smile showing my teeth. They really did. I had a supernumerary that messed up my teeth. I had 2 holes on either side. I had a name like Dino. My parents went through a divorce. I was a really messed up kid, and braces changed me. They changed me. And so what you guys do, offering people the opportunity to not have regret. I really want people to get that.
Yes.
You're not just selling them on braces.
No.
You're selling them on the ability to not have regret in their life. You're not selling them just to smile. You're selling them on not to have regret. And every single one of you knows what it feels like to have regret, feel like you missed out, feel like you can't do what you want to do because you didn't get that thing. You didn't make that decision. You're giving them the opportunity to do that. So I just want to praise you all for doing that. And everybody that's on here, boy, we've got a lot of TCs who are just thank you so much and appreciating you. I hope everybody shouts you out big time personally as well. So thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you,
You're
everybody.
welcome.
Thank you. Virtual hugs.
So any last questions? I think we're all good there. Last words from everybody. Last words. What would you like to say before we head off?
Oh, Dino, I just want to thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for organizing this along with the umpteen other panels that you've helped everyone in our profession. And I think the same is that we have to give reassurance to our patients during this time. Hopefully that this is giving all of you some reassurance that the future is going to be, we don't know what it's going to hold, but I think there's a new landscape, and I think that we're going to help more people. And I think
100%.
as Stacy said, if you continue to or Dino said, watch your videos, see what you could do to improve things, and continuously reevaluate and just improve, reevaluate, improve. You can now hear my son playing Fortnite. So yes, I think that's some reassurance, and we're here for you, as Dino said. There's help for you, and these guys are killing it right now, and Kim in such a short amount of time. So you can too.
Such a great example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I would just say, this is a very different time, but it's always changing. And I think that if it wasn't COVID-19, even before this, things are always changing. So we got to be ready to make sure that we're up with what the change is. And give yourself grace as you're going through it. Don't be so hard on yourself. We have all these expectations of what we need to be. I know the moms are working and they have to homeschool. We've got these challenges right now, but it's the same thing here. Like, just jump in and it's okay. People are going to be okay with it. Just be you, be authentic, and you guys got this. So big hugs to everyone out there. We're going to get through this together, and just keep being you.
Love it. That's so true. Stacy.
Just again, thanks for everybody participating here, and it's great to learn from everyone else. So I think also ask around. So love to share, I guess, through Dino's side of what's worked for you, because I think we're a wealth of knowledge going forward. So let's share the information that we have, because something that may work for you, it could possibly work for someone else. So we'd love to hear from you information and how you're doing things. So, and then just pull the trigger and go for it. I always say, you know, I'm now living in the South again. Rip the Band-Aid off and just go for it. So don't hold back. Just, you know, you'll learn more once you just implement it. So don't overthink it. Just go live with however you're going to do it. And then you can have 101 ways of overthinking all your wording and steps from there. But just launch it now.
Yes.
And then as you go along.
Done is better than perfect. Right? Like just get it started. I do also want to say, people want to connect too. If you go, I have a study group on Facebook for everybody that's out there it's Best Practices Study Group. There is another one called Best Practices for American Dental Association or whatever, but Best Practice Study Group. And just like Stacy said, if you want to connect there too, definitely. Kim, what about you?
Thank you, Dino, for the opportunity to be able to connect with such wonderful people, and we're all in the same boat, and just know that it's possible. Like I said, we had no choice. You had to do it. You stay above the water and you won't sink. So I look forward to hearing everybody's stories, and if any questions come up about getting it started, you know, please reach out. I apologize for being so nervous, but
you did awesome.
I've enjoyed this. You guys have kind of got me out of my comfort zone with this, and I do it every day. You know, I do it every day, but in a setting, sometimes you just get a little nervous. But thank you guys for being patient with me. I appreciate it.
Well, Kim, I like how subtle you were with now you're trying to show us how good you are with just being on the phone and not actually through video. Like that was Stacy's realm, but now you're I get it. No, it's fine. We get it. You're awesome. No, again, I just thank you all so much. What an amazing evening. The time just flew by. I just love it. I love what you guys were able to share and give. Everyone on here is praising all of you for what you've done. It's been my honor and my privilege to host this and be a part of this. And, you know, I just think this is the time that we get to have for ourselves to grow. This is that someday, right? All that stuff, all those things that you were saying, man, if I only had time to do this, or I never have time to do this, or when can I implement that? Guess what? What an amazing gift.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I totally, I'll end with this. So I just wrote about this actually on my Facebook today. I wrote it to my email list the other day. I think today was the anniversary of the Titanic sinking. And a story I often tell is that many people died in the Titanic disaster, not because they drowned and not because they didn't have life vest. It's because they jumped in the water and they started to scream because they were cold and scared and everything. But then they recognized that other people around them were screaming too. There was a lot of noise. And then they got numb. They got numb to the water. And so they stopped screaming and they stopped moving. And they expected the lifeboats to come to them. I just want you all to know, no one's coming to save you right now. You have got to save your own businesses, and you can do it. You have the tools. That's what this is for. This is the reason why I do these and why I've been doing so many of them, because they're out there. They're the tools. I want you to save yourself. Keep swimming, keep screaming, get the attention. Let people know you're in business. Let people know you're there to serve them and help them, and you will win. There will be an after. How you prepare right now during is going to make all the difference in the after. I promise you that. So thank you all for an amazing evening. It's been my privilege and honor to be here. Love you all. Have a great night.
Okay. Bye. Bye, Dino. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Stacy, Kim, so nice. Of course, Nicole. Thank you, Dino. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks so much again for listening to the Propreneur Podcast. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you do so. Also, if you feel like you might be a good fit for our podcast as a guest or know somebody who you think would be, go ahead and email us at dino@dinowatt.com. Again, thanks for your support. We'll see you on the next episode.